The game begins with Steinitz pushing his e-pawn to e4, and Bardeleben mirrors symmetrically with e5. Knight to f3, attacking the e5 pawn. Black develops his knight to c6, defending the center. Bishop to c4, the Italian game setup, eyeing the weak f7 square. Black responds symmetrically with bishop c5. Steinitz plays c3, preparing to build a strong pawn center with d4. Bardeleben develops his knight to f6. White pushes d4, challenging black's central pawn. Black captures with e takes d4, opening the position. C-pawn takes d4, recapturing in the center. Black responds with bishop b4 check, forcing white to respond. This check prevents white from simply recapturing on d4 and creates immediate tactical complications. Black could have played d5 immediately instead, but the check gains a tempo and disrupts white's natural development. Knight to c3 blocks the check and develops with tempo. Black strikes back with d5, attacking the bishop on c4. E-pawn takes d5, maintaining material balance. Knight takes d5, centralizing black's knight. Steinitz castles kingside, bringing his king to safety. Bardeleben develops his bishop to e6. Bishop to g5, pinning the future bishop on e7. Black retreats his bishop from b4 to e7. Bishop takes d5, exchanging pieces. Black recaptures with bishop takes d5, maintaining central control. Knight takes d5, continuing the piece trade. Queen takes d5. Black's queen enters the fray. Bishop takes e7, removing black's defensive piece. Knight takes e7, forced recapture. Rook to e1, activating the rook on the open e-file and eyeing the exposed knight. Black plays f6, bolstering the knight. Queen to e2, adding more pressure to the e-file and preparing for central action. Queen to d7, stepping away from the tension. Rook a1 to c1, bringing the last piece into play and preparing to invade the c-file. Black plays c6, limiting white's pieces. d5, a powerful pawn push, opening lines and creating immediate threats against black's cramped position. This advance tears open the position and exposes black's king. C takes d5 was forced, but now black's pieces are tangled and the king remains stuck in the center. White could have played knight d4 immediately instead, but the pawn break is more forcing and creates concrete threats. Knight to d4, a powerful centralization. The knight dominates from d4, eyeing multiple outposts including e6 and f5, while black's king remains dangerously placed on f7. Black had to move the king since castling is too slow, but king f7 walks into a tactical minefield. Castling queenside was safer but still problematic due to white's pressure. Knight to e6, a brilliant outpost. The knight cannot be easily removed, and it controls key dark squares around black's exposed king. From e6, the knight attacks d8 and supports a potential invasion on the 7th rank. Black responds with rook h8 to c8, trying to activate the rook, but it's too little too late. Trading rooks with Rc8 was also considered, but doesn't solve the fundamental problem of the exposed king. Queen to g4. The queen swings to the king's side with devastating effect, creating multiple threats against the exposed king. This move coordinates beautifully with the knight on e6 and prepares a direct attack on g7 and the king. Black plays g6, trying to create breathing room, but this fatally weakens the dark squares. Queen h4 was tempting to keep more options, but queen g4 is more forcing and limits black's defensive resources. Knight to g5 check, a spectacular move that forces black's king back to the center and begins the final assault. The knight on g5 controls critical squares and works perfectly with the queen on g4. Black must play king e8, as going to f8 allows rook takes e7 with devastating effect. This move transforms the position from winning to completely winning, as black's king is now caught in a mating net with no escape. The alternatives like queen f4 or queen h4 were less forcing and gave black more defensive chances. Rook takes e7 check. The rook crashes through, sacrificing itself to rip open black's kingside. This is the point of the combination. White's pieces coordinate perfectly to deliver checkmate. Black must play king f8, but the noose is tightening. This forcing sacrifice eliminates black's last defender and sets up an unstoppable mating attack. Any other move by white would have allowed black to consolidate or even escape with the king. Rook to f7 check. The rook continues its rampage, driving the black king into the corner. King g8 is forced, as there's nowhere else to run. This move sets up the final brilliant conclusion, with the rook systematically destroying black's defensive shell. The alternative queen f4 check doesn't lead anywhere concrete, while rook f7 check is part of a forced mating sequence that Steinitz has calculated to perfection. Rook to G7 check. The rook shifts to G7, maintaining the checking pattern and forcing the black king to H8. This is the penultimate move in one of chess history's most famous combinations. Black's king is being systematically driven into the corner where checkmate awaits. King H8 is the only legal move, walking straight into the final blow. Every move in this sequence has been forced. Black has no choice but to march toward his doom. Rook takes H7 check. And here Bardeleben stood up and left the tournament hall without resigning, because the continuation is absolutely crushing. After king takes 7, white plays queen H4 check, king G8, queen H8 check, king F7, queen H7 check, king E8, queen G8 check, king E7, queen F7 check, king D8, queen F8 check, queen E8, and finally queen takes E8 checkmate, a cascade of checks leading to an inevitable mate. This position became known as the Jewel of Hastings, one of the most brilliant combinations ever played. Steinitz's relentless attacking genius is on full display in this immortal finish.